So I need to build rock sliders, something that can handle all the heavy hits when this thing is high centered traveling through the rocks. But let me show you what the problem is. These old Chevy trucks came with saddle gas tanks. They sit outside the frame and they sit really low, and that's right where my rock slider needs to be. All the connections from the rock slider right here are gonna extend back to the frame, and they need to go right where this is. So somehow I've got to get my gas tank out of here and relocate it somewhere else. I think the best location for that is going to be in the bed right behind the cab. I want to build a fuel cell that'll sit right in here, that'll be about twice the size. The saddle tanks hold like 16 gallons. I want to be able to hold 25 to 30 gallons. That'll mean I only run out of gas half as often. That'll be good. I want the tank to fit right in here. I'm thinking this thing is gonna be like 36 inches long, 14 inches wide, and 14 inches tall. So there's lots of work that's gonna go on in here. I wanna make sure that this fuel tank fits in here and that it doesn't need to change after I do all those upgrades. I scrounged up this steel behind me. This is stuff that was given to us over at Matt's Off-Road Recovery. Look at this. This piece right here, I set it on the ground for an hour and it got ran over with a Corvair.
Sorry about that, Tom Tom.
All right, I'm trying to use what I have, but this steel is obviously not in the best shape. I've got a big dent or smash right here in the middle of this piece, but there's some good section right out here that I should be able to use. So I need to do some creative cutting and use the best part of this sheet for the main piece that I'm gonna fold up. We'll figure that out. Okay, I've got my steel all laid out. I know where my cuts are. I've got a brand new blade on my saw. I am ready to start chopping. So one question you might have is, why don't I use something like aluminum or stainless steel? Because this was cheap and it's free. But it also is a pretty good material for fuel tanks. They made gas tanks out of carbon steel for years and years and years. This is less prone to cracking than aluminum, and in a vehicle that flexes a lot, especially off-roading, cracking is a big deal. Stainless steel would be awesome. That would be a great material, but it's really expensive, so I didn't do that. Instead, I'm going the cheap route. That's my dirty side, that's my clean side. I don't think it really matters which side, the inside or the outside is, because it's all gonna get cleaned up before it's done. Okay, this piece of steel is all cleaned up and I've got all of my marks on here where the bends need to go. So I've been talking to the guys over at Flog, and they do way more than just make bumpers. They also make these really nice fuel tanks that go on the back of pickup trucks, gas and diesel tanks or a dual tank. Those guys have the coolest shop, and they've got these awesome huge bending machines that they use for all kinds of different stuff. So I can't wait to go check out their shop and get this thing bent up. I'm heading over to Flog headquarters. They're about 15 minutes away from my house. I'll be there in just a minute here. It's a little cool and rainy today. Good day to be working in the shop. I've been wanting to build a bender for my shop. I have this idea to drill a whole bunch of clamp holes all over my workbench, but I need to get this done. So if you're interested in watching me build some kind of sheet metal bender, let me know in the comments. All right, I'm in the Flog shop now. I've got my piece here, and they have this monster press brake behind me that they're gonna use to help make these bends. And I made it even more complicated. Instead of trying to do 190, I'm gonna try and do 245s on these, just because I want to. So these are the auxiliary tanks these guys are building that go in the back of trucks. And that's why I came and talked to them about my gas tank, is because these guys are experts in making this stuff. Your welding looks awesome on these. Well, this has been fun. I'm gonna head back to my shop and start putting this thing together. That was super nice of the guys at Flog to help me out with these bends. Look at this thing. Came out perfect. Having bent these bottom pieces will save me a ton of welding. These seams right here would have been really long welds. There is a lot of welding that has to be done, but that saved me a bunch. My next step, I think, is to build baffles, these walls that'll be on the inside here. That'll add a bunch of structure to this tank and also keep the fuel from sloshing all the way back and forth and hammering the ends, and also tearing the mounts off, however I mount it. Baffles is my next step, and then I'll build these end caps. All 4 of them will be really similar. I've got this plate all laid out. I've got dots where I need all my holes drilled. I need to chop these corners. So I cut that panel all out, then I went around the perimeter and drilled holes so that I can plug weld it in here. It's gonna be one of my braces that goes in the middle, one of these baffles. And I've got it mounted to my table right here, and I'm gonna try and hammer over the edge all the way around so that I have a nice spot to weld to. I'm gonna grab a bigger hammer. That ought to do. All right, I got 2 of my 4 edges folded over here. So I'm gonna take a piece of this angle iron, cut it 14 inches long, and then it will fit on the inside of this little tray and I can keep folding. Okay, this time I'm gonna have to bend up, but I think this will work. This is why I need to build a press brake. Not too bad. All right, after all of the hammering and drilling, I've got one of these pieces built. It fits in here really nice. I got little openings on the corners for fuel to flow back and forth between each chamber. I gotta make 3 more of these. I'm not gonna show you all that, but I'll show you when I'm ready to weld them in. It is a new day and I'm out here working in my shop. So I think I'm ready to clamp these into place and weld them up. I've got a whole bunch of these little plug welds or rosettes that I need to do all around the edges. All right, I made some lines and marked where each one of these baffles needs to get clamped down. Okay, that should be all ready to weld. All right, so the baffles are all welded in, and now you can kind of see that it makes 3 separate chambers, and they're different lengths. So one of them's long, one of them's short, and one of them's like a medium length. So when the truck's bouncing left or right, the wave of gasoline will hit the wall at a different time. Now I'm going to drill some big holes in it now. So not only does it crash into the wall, but some of it passes through to soften that. Again, this is probably way overkill. I probably don't need to be doing this, but I've already got the baffles in, so it's not that much more work. All right. Okay, the baffles are in place. I put my holes in. I need to deburr the edges on them. Now I need to form these end pieces. It's kind of going to be the same thing, but without all the holes for the plug welding. I'm going to TIG weld all the way around. And I am really just an okay TIG welder. I'm not awful, I'm not great. So what I've done to make this go a little better is I'm bending all these edges. So instead of doing like corner welds, which are really tricky to do and they're weaker, I'm bending the material so that when I weld in here, I'm now welding to a lap joint. And lap joints are stronger. You can really pour the heat in and seal off the tank really good so there's no leaks, and they're way easier to do. Okay, I've got my pieces all cut out. I clamped my first one to the table here. I'm gonna hammer and kind of shape these the same way I shaped the baffles. And when I'm done, we'll start TIG welding them in. So I built my first end cap. This will be one of the side pieces on my tank. Let me show you how it's gonna fit in here. Look at that. I'll get a nice lap weld all the way down that seam. Okay, I've got the first end cap clamped in here and ready to go. I'm gonna MIG weld around the inside just with little dots to hold it in place, and then I'm gonna TIG weld all the way around the perimeter. Okay, I've got one entire side done. I'm definitely getting better as I go around this. I'm also learning that the position really makes a big difference. So I tried a few different things and finally settled on something that was working okay. I need to build some kind of a stool for TIG welding. Until then, I'll keep using a trash can and a 5-gallon bucket. Okay, so the end caps are all welded on and I think they went pretty good. Time to lay out all of this top plate and bend everything, and then I can figure out where my parts are gonna go. I'm making progress with this top piece. That was a lot of hammering, but it's fitting in here. I've got all the pieces bent and this thing is ready to weld in place. It is a new day and I'm working out in my shop and I really want to weld this top lid piece on the fuel tank, but I know I've got to do one thing still, and that is to design some kind of a vent system in the tank. Come on, cheapy base. All of my parts are done now. I've got this top piece ready with my vent tube welded in. I've got this whole tank all prepped and ready to go. I cleaned and I re-cleaned it, and I'm gonna spray it down one last time with brake cleaner and then clean it again. And then I'm gonna put my lid on and start welding. Right in there. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull it down as I go and tack this. I might tack it really quick with a MIG welder because it's just easier to tack. So I've done my plug welds on the top and I did all the tack welds around the edges. I'm done MIG welding on this tank, but I still have this whole perimeter weld I want to TIG weld. All right guys, I have got something to show you. I'm getting old and my eyes are getting worse and I can't see up close anymore like I used to. So last night on the way back from a hike with Angela, we stopped at Walmart and I picked up these reading glasses. I gotta tell you this, they're incredible. I can see all the detail again. Like, my vision's like 8K when I'm up close. I'm gonna be able to see the weld puddle now, which is why I picked these up. I'm gonna finish up a couple of welds on this with my new reading glasses. No laughing, you're gonna get old too. Then I'm gonna go set it in the truck and see how it's gonna look, see if this thing's gonna work in there. Dang, man, that's crazy. I should have bought these like 2 years ago. All right, that was mind-blowing. I just laid down the best weld of this whole tank using these ridiculous glasses. So if you need reading glasses, totally go get them. So the tank's coming along good. I still got a few things to weld on. I need to mount it, I need to paint it, I need to plumb it into the system. So hopefully we'll be able to try it out soon. I just made a whole bunch of adjustments to the tune on this truck, and I'm gonna go test it right now with Matt over at Sand Hollow. So I'm gonna meet up with him. We'll do a little test drive. All right, I'm cruising out to Sand Hollow right now. I can already tell that the updates to the tune are going to be really good. And I talked Angela into coming with me. All I had to do was tell her we weren't gonna be long. Hopefully that's true, but sometimes things happen.
So Tom said it would probably be an hour. I'm planning on 2 hours.
Hopefully that's enough. It's like 50 degrees, nice day today. We're gonna have a good time.
Glad to see Jamie's here.
I'm gonna hair down really quick.
Hair down.
This is a lovely day. We've got a pair of lovely rigs here to go do a lovely trail ride with these lovely ladies.
You
do.
I was waiting for that.
We had to stop for a minute there while Matt zipped up his drive shaft, but I think the wrecker is all back together and running really good.
I thought it would be down.
The chute's pretty cool, I'll show you that in a second, but Angela's reaction is even better. So that's what we're going up. Are you good with this?
Well, I thought we were going down, because chute means you go down, not you go up.
You gotta go up to come down.
Shoot. Okay. Oh my goodness gracious.
It's kind of a tight fit just to get in.
Yeah, you think?
Okay, you ready?
I might close my eyes. It's steeper than it looks on camera.
All right, Ange. You did it.
Whoa. You made that easy.
Good job. We walked right up it. What'd you think?
Actually, it was easier than I thought. I didn't drive that.
All right, we made it through the chute. We hiked around to the top here to take a look back down at it and see these guys wheeling around behind us. What'd you think, Ange?
Super fun. Glad I did it.
Glad you did it too.
Dig Dug did good.
Nice job. We had a good time running Wayne's World. We were kind of all over it. I'm not sure we followed it exactly, but it's a busy day out here in Sand Hollow.
Saturday.
Yeah. It's also beautiful weather, so lots of people here. But we had a good time. Angela got to do the chute. Wrecker's running good.
Yeah, no complaints.
Angela can drive the chute next time.
That's the goal. Next time Angela is going to drive the chute. All right. Thanks for watching.